Okay, if you are still among those who think racism is a hoax, a myth, a big fat bungle, please watch this video.
Hey Luna, welcome to my channel. Let's not waste any time, let's get right to it.
Gymnastics Ireland is embroiled in racial controversy after a shocking video showed a young black competitor being skipped over during a medal ceremony as her white peers were each given an award. The actions of the official has sparked outrage online, with thousands of users condemning what had taken place. Amongst those, Olympic champion Simone Biles also condemned the heartbreaking incident and said she had sent a video of support to the young girl after her parents reached out. The video shows a lineup of young gymnasts awaiting their awards, with the little girl excitedly waiting for her medal before being overlooked. Gymnastics Ireland has now apologized for the incident after the girl's parents alleged the snub was due to racism.
Yesterday we shared a video in relation to Gymnastics Ireland and that little girl who had been passed over at the medal ceremony back in March of 2022. There has been a huge reaction to that video and so many people were just so distraught to watch the video. I didn't share the video, I just shared kind of a screenshot from the video. I found the video very upsetting and I just didn't want to kind of further upset people by sharing it. Now, a few people in the comments had said that an apology had been offered and the family were happy with that. However, it transpires today that the family in fact are not happy with the apology. They would like something far more public. And they said the apology they got was a one line from an official email address and it was to whom it concerns. They said it was very cold and it wasn't very meaningful. So it looks like once this video went a little bit viral, that Gymnastics Ireland decided we'd better rush and get an apology out, because up until that point they hadn't issued a statement or a public apology of any description. There is an apology on their website at the moment, which I've linked in my bio, but the family have escalated the issue to the Gymnastics Federation in Switzerland. So it seems the family aren't happy. It seems that this was a racially motivated attack on that young girl. And I think it's very clear for anybody who watches that video how horrific the situation was for her. And the message it sends to every other black girl or child that they can simply be passed over and dismissed like that. It's unacceptable.
Racism is wrong no matter what context it happens in, but when you see a child experience it, it's just heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking. And you can sit there, if a child, like a little kid, experiences racism from like another little kid, you know, like primary school children, you can kind of put it down to stupid kids and their ignorance, and you can kind of teach them to like that it's wrong and to not do it. But when you see adults being so clearly racist towards a child, it's just horrific and disgusting. Like, let me show you the video that I'm talking about. So it's about this little girl who's in a lineup of maybe at least 10 children, probably more, And this woman is going down the line giving these little gymnasts their medals. She stops in front of the little black girl and she fumbles with the medal a little bit, then turns to the other white child on the other side of her, starts giving that medal like to the children down the line again, completely skipping out the little black girl. She then comes off camera for a minute to go off to get more medals. She comes a little bit back up the line, continues giving the medals, and I paused it at the end. You can see she had one medal still in her hand as she turns around to walk away from the line. Now, I watched the rest of that video. She did not give that medal to that little black girl at all. And if you look at it, you could be like, well, maybe she didn't win anything. There were 10 to 15 kids lined up and only one of them didn't get a medal. Are you telling me they all came first? No, it was maybe like a participation medal or something. But it's just, watch it.
That's what I mean. There's no excusing it. When the woman passes the black girl, she clearly has the medal in her hand. So it's clearly intentional that she's seen her and has withdrawn the medal and then walked away and then given medals. And then she finally runs out of medals for I think it's like 2 or 3 girls at the end, walks away and then comes back with medals. Now, again, I know the statement is showing that at some point before the end of the competition, she does give a medal to the girl who's left out, probably because there was pressure. Again, I've not seen that video, so I can't comment on that. But regardless of that, why would you intentionally miss her out to give it? It doesn't make sense. Everyone else got a medal apart from that girl, and that girl was in. It wasn't even like. Do you know what I mean? There's no way you could have missed. It has to be intentional. Sort of like, in a football when it's rival teams and you go and you're shaking hands and there's someone you've got beef with and then you don't shake their hands. It's not like a mistake. It's intentional. So yeah, I just feel sad for this girl, and I know it happened 2022 or 18 months ago, so March 2022. And we're only seeing this now, but imagine how this girl felt. So yeah, again, I don't know how old this girl is, so I don't want social media to really find this girl per se. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be bringing loads of heat to this girl and wanting attention. She's probably moved on past this point. But these are the microaggressions, unfortunately, in this day and age, kids have to go through. I remember, so it's one thing to have racism from kids, right? But for it to come from adults, it's just unacceptable. Like, why are you so intent on, breaking a kid's innocence? There's enough horrible stuff in the world. Let kids be kids, And you can tell at that moment, whether she's had any issues before or not, that innocence was broken. Do you know what I mean? And the thing with this is, with racism, there's no safe spaces. Do you know what I mean? She's at a gymnastics competition. She's there with her teammates. She's the only black girl on the team. She's not expecting to have a hostile, racist encounter with none other than an official. So yeah, as I say, guys, I've read the statement. I don't care about the statement. There's no excuse. All the sympathizers in the comments, to be fair, there's not many. There's only the odd one or two.
When I saw this, it really pissed me off. It's the fact that this was probably a really big moment for this little girl. And the fact that was taken away from her because she was skipped over. Like, in the video, you can literally see the disappointment in her face. And people kept saying it's not a race issue. Maybe she genuinely, forgot. No, she literally skipped over her. And then Gymnastics Ireland released a statement talking about something that happened 18 months ago. I don't care if it happened 18 years ago. It's something that needs to be talked about. I hope that someone like Gabby Douglas or someone else who's black and in gymnastics can reach out to this girl. And that in her future career, she's in a place where she's respected. And whoever that staff lady is who skipped over her, ma'am, come here. I just want to talk. I just want to talk. I was putting myself in her shoes or imagining if I was her parent and I saw this happen. Me and the gymnastics staff member would have been squaring up disrespectfully.
The first thing I want to say, because it's the number one thing that's on my mind, is the passiveness of how we deal with these situations as black people. We cannot wait for white people to feel a certain way about situations, and we cannot wait forever for white people to be disgusted about something that we ourselves are not that heavily disgusted about. One thing I've learned from being raised in Ireland or raised in Europe is that you will never be short of white people who are saying, oh geez, that's disgusting, that's disgusting, that's disgusting. That's definitely their favorite things to say. And, I say that in a way that I know that people might get offended, like, oh, what do you want us to do? But I know that we have a culture of complacency towards these things. I definitely know, and I've always mentioned this, if there was like a child abuse situation, which this technically is, I can guarantee you that there wouldn't be a sense of like, you know, oh, that's disgusting. Rather, there'd be a whole bunch of people who want to take action. In fact, that the only video that I saw on TikTok of someone who wanted to take action was a white American. Again, why I always brag about the black Americans, because I think they have gotten that message across to their allies now that it's about action. It's about action. And here we have a white American who was quicker off the mark to get action on this situation. So I want to talk to black folk about this and talk about how we find ourselves just feeling like could have been worse. I know every single black person obviously looked at it like, man, that's could have been worse, because we're so used to complacency. You know, I bet no black person felt this sense of, I want to know what I can do to make sure that woman doesn't have a job tomorrow. To make sure that the next black kid that's in that class doesn't have to see that woman's face again. We don't think like this. Black Americans have now developed where they think like this. It's proactive behavior. We're not proactive people. So I wanted to say this, right? I'm just thinking in my mind, okay, what do black people think we can do? Okay, we can call in, right? Now, they've obviously lifted the situation to a place now where Gymnastics Ireland are even having to, you know, discuss the topic, which is obviously a success in that point. I personally think that it was because of the noise that was made outside of Ireland that they realized this is actually getting out of hand, because they're used to people inside not making that much noise. But black people can make a decision within ourselves where we say, all right, listen, we're going to pull all of our black children out of that. Any black child that has gymnastics. And a footnote for anybody who's white who says that they're not racist. This is why I'm very, 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 my line has got very thin now, because it's a lot of talk people like to put, a lot of talk. How many people who claim they are part of that gymnastics people who say that they are so anti-racist will pull their children out because they say, I don't want my child being taught with someone with a toxic mind like that. I don't want my child around it. I hate it. Would you keep your child in there if it was a child, Melissa? Would you keep your child if you knew? No, you wouldn't, because you care now about a serious topic to your heart that I don't want my child to be, right? If you look at race in the same way. What if my child inhales that mentality? What if my child sees that woman treat that black child different to how she treats the other black child during practice or training? And what if my child embraces that and absorbs it? What if that? We don't have that kind of mentality. So that's why I'm going to say all those people, white people who say that they're not racist, this is what not racist is. You're definitely not racist. I just want to put that out there, but because I don't spend my time talking to white people, that's not something that I decided to do in my life anymore, because you would really be talking to a brick wall at times, because no accountability wants to be taken there. But when we talk to black people, okay, I'm aware, as I read up on it, that there's very few black people. The mother mentioned we're very often we are this is quoted from her, we're the only black family there. So that kind of takes away the thing where it's like, okay, we pull our children out of that. Another thing, I'm calling on black media. We've got a lot of people now who are doing podcasts who are doing quite well. I'm calling on black media. I'm calling on people with podcasts. I'm calling on people who are making music, who have quite a good platform. This is what I'm talking about. I'm calling on all you people to make a noise out of this, to make a bigger noise out of this. When do we ever, as black Irish people, have set a high standard? I think when George Inchenko died, that's when we all came together. But we cannot wait for people to die to really put our foot down on certain behaviors. Now, another thing that I think is very deep that I thought of is that, like, this woman, obviously, this is not her first racist moment. This is a mentality that she holds, right? So how do we know how much other stories, children that she's damaged with her behavior, that she's absorbed? I know I carried behaviors from football coaches that I carried into my big age. So how do we know that right now there's not marks that she's left on young children that they've inhaled it and taken on with them as they've gone on? This is why we can't wait for people to die in order to decide, oh, let's do what America would do and do a big protest. We need to be people who have very, very little patience and very sensitive for these kind of things. And I was just saying on my Instagram story today, speaking about how if this was in the hands of the black Americans, they would be so quick to blow it up. Black media, black everything would be blowing it up. We don't have that sense of self-worth. I know black people look at it. She'll live. She'll get on with it. But this is why black people are not flourishing psychologically. Black consciousness is not flourishing in the West, in Europe, and I'm going to speak specifically for Ireland, because we don't have a high level and depth of self-worth. We have to have a high level of self-worth that when we see moments like this, we do not tolerate them an inch, a tiny bit. And this is why we suffer in black consciousness within Ireland, because we feel like what's more important subconsciously is how we can fit ourselves into Irish society and be a part of that Guinness tradition or that thing. And we sacrifice young girls like this and sacrifice standards like this and let people like that run free every single time. And it's disgusting. The next point I want to move on to is let's talk about the incident itself, and let's talk about the fact that that lady did that in a stadium of people. Now, if you knew you were from a country that had high disgust, true, deep disgust for racism, I just can't see a lady having the confidence to do that in a stadium full of people. I just really don't see a lady having the confidence to do that. I definitely see her thinking to myself, but you have to understand the culture that she had the courage. I almost didn't want to do a video for this because I don't like to take too much focus on, explicit acts of racism. I think that they so much deter us and actually assist systematic racism, and help us to, cover up systematic racism because we think that it's only explicit acts of racism that matter or that are really a damage or, to anybody. So I was torn. I didn't want to do it. But then I was obviously pondering on it and thinking about it. And I was thinking about, points like, where is Black Ireland right now? Black and Irish, where are the Africans? Where is the black media? Where are the black people who have some sort of a platform? Where are they that are blowing this up, that show that we are people that if you step on our toe, we are going to make a noise about it. And that's the only way that our white people in Ireland are going to come to this understanding that those black people do not take rubbish. So next time a woman like that, unfortunately the facts are there, she would have zero courage because we've created a culture where she cannot do something underhanded like that. It was overhanded, but of course she didn't grab the mic and call the little girl an N-word, right? She just did something a little naughty, little, mischievous, right? Knowing that the real racist MVP will give her a little applause, and the gray area racist will say, oh my God, how disgusting is that? But at the end of the day, will I lose my job? No. Will I cause a problem? No. It took 18 months for the situation to happen outside.
Subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any of this tea.